I hope it goes without saying that obviously we're using the church for something we don't normally use the church for. We like for this space to be for worship only. But by necessity, over the next several months, we're going to be using this space for other types of activities, informational and educational. But this is sacred space, and so our goal is for one thing and one thing only to happen in this place that's consecrated, which is worship. But as I say, by necessity, we are using it for other purposes over the next couple of months until we have a big, new, beautiful, wonderful building. We're going to start with a prayer. Would you please bow your heads? And this is the expansion prayer. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for blessing our St. Laurence family. We come to you with grateful hearts, asking for your guidance in all of the details of this expansion. Remind us to seek you first before every decision is made. Give us a spirit of unity and generous hearts. Direct us to build up your church, staying rooted in the truth. Expand these walls so that they may honor you and bring others to know you and love you. We ask these things in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. Okay, so one of the big goals that we set before we started this expansion was communication and trying to keep everybody in the loop. So this is the 5th expansion meeting we've had since this effort started. It's the 3rd one we've had this year. We had one early in the year, we had one in May, and we're having one now. So trying to sort of have a regular update just so you can keep track of what we've got going on. We also, as you'll notice, every week in the bulletin, we're telling you every little detail of minutia that we can think of that happened on the property that week. We're trying to keep everybody updated via the bulletin. That's also in the Friday email blast. And then if you are following St. Laurence on Facebook or Instagram, you see Carrie is posting multiple times a week pictures. So pictures that go with the words that you're reading in the bulletin. So if you're not following us on Facebook or Instagram, you might want to consider that and you follow it. Or if you're like, hey, I'm not a Facebook and Instagram person, that's okay too. On our website, there is a construction log. There's a part of our website where every photograph that's going on Facebook and Instagram and every update that's appeared in the bulletin since January, you can read all the way through it and track the progress on our website as well. So if you're not one of those social media types, that's all good. But we're trying really hard. This is one of our priorities to communicate, and that's what the purpose of this morning's meeting is as well. You're going to hear from Shay Kirkman, our expansion committee chair, from Carl Lepiska, who is acting as the owner's agent. He's here every single day. And then David Hayes, our treasurer. Just to say a word about the level of commitment of these guys. It really is through the roof. I think I had 3 meetings with Shay and Carl last week, through the week. They're not here every day, but Shay's not here every day. Carl is here every day, but she was here 3 different days last week, and Carl every day. And then David Hayes is here at least 1 or 2 days a week watching after the finances, and he's looking after all the operating fund finances and the building fund finances. So we're in great hands. These folks are super, super dedicated to this task, and you're going to hear from them. So I'm going to invite, I guess Shay and Carl are going first. I'm going to invite them to come forward and walk us through. You've got a handout here, and they're just going to kind of walk us through it. And then there'll be time at the end for questions. And all questions are good questions, so ask away. But they're going to kind of work through all of the outline first, and then time for questions. Okay, Carl.
Good morning. The Lord knows, and it's taken probably about 35 years, at least here in St. Lawrence, but Father Jordan finally has found a way to get me to come to church 6 days a week. I need it. We have been doing a lot of work, and one of the biggest questions that we've had over this, at least last 6 months of this project, is I don't see anything. However, as we've had in the last several weeks in Father Jordan's homily and in several readings, including today, we heard about foundations, and even today some construction references. And so we've been doing a lot of that, and we'll get to a lot of what's gone into the ground already. And as of tomorrow morning, we're going to pour the last big piece of the foundation for the new parish hall, the Great Hall, right? And so that will be the conclusion of all of the foundation work that's gone on so far. Up until now, the children's ministry building, which is the renovation of the existing parish hall, that will be scheduled to be complete mid-December, December 19th, and we should be in there by Christmas. We also have done a lot of work on what we now call the Great Hall. The foundation for that has been poured, many components under the ground, and like I said, as of tomorrow, we'll have the final piece poured on top, and that'll give us the foundation that we need to start building up the building itself, starting with steel piers. The children's ministry building is all but complete in its foundation too, and much of the interior has been completed. The room framing has been completed. The plumbing, the electrical, we are now putting in a fire protection sprinkler system for both buildings. All of that's been installed. The only thing we haven't done yet is put up the drywall and the trim, and that will be done once the steel is erected and we can shut the building in from the weather. So it'll protect that part of the work. As I said, the Great Hall, we will start to see within a couple of weeks the steel being erected up there. The entire building will be a steel structure, and you'll see that start coming up out of the ground. So as many of you have noted, we spent a lot of money and a lot of time so far, and we're finally going to see what comes up out of the ground in the part of the building that we're going to live in. The bridges. Shay is going to speak a little bit to the process for the bridges, but we will begin that pretty soon. September 8th, we will begin placing the foundation and the approaches to the bridges. The vehicle bridge that will be on the far north side of the building, that will allow us a complete circular access to all of the parking. That will join with the back parking lot that we have here now. The bridge crosses the creek on the north side. There will be a long drive to connect it to the existing back parking lot that will come back around to the low water bridge that we have now. And then also the pedestrian bridge is going to be added. It's going to be mounted between the back side of the area between the Great Hall and the Children's Ministry building, and it'll land across the creek near the office. And it will also connect to the back parking lot, so there will be direct foot traffic available from the back parking lot, if that's where you choose to park, directly into the complex of the buildings, which will connect the back parking lot in a much shorter route to all of the buildings on the campus. So there has been a lot done, and we're going to continue in the next couple of weeks. You'll be able to drive by and see some things that are above ground. So we're looking forward to that. Thank you.
Thank you, Carl. Just hearing Carl talk reminded me a little bit, a couple weeks ago, Father Jordan had a sermon that one of our goals in life is to strive to become a saint. And what I've seen Carl do over the past few months, he's already there. He's already gotten there. So, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So Carl gets to come out here every day and act as all of y'all's representatives. So owner's rep is such a critical role. It's someone that coordinates with all the trades out here, the contractors that we have, the city inspectors that come out, and Carl really just represents so much good about what we're doing, what we're trying to do, and it's so fun to watch him in action. So we're real excited to get to this next stage of construction. Thanks to Carl and so many people that have helped us get here. I'm going to hit a few things that are a little bit on the kind of miscellaneous side of things. There's been a lot of questions, so some of this is meant to answer some of those questions, but if not, like Father Jordan said, we'll be able to answer those afterwards. We've been asked a lot about the community feedback, the neighbors, and the city of Southlake, so I'll hit that briefly. When we first started this project about 9.5, 10 years ago, we did have to go through some city approvals that were some initial approvals where we planned the entire campus. And so in doing that, the neighbors came out in force and were very vocal. We were a little bit surprised because a lot of the neighbors were vocal against what we were trying to do. And for expansion reasons, for disturbance reasons, we might have more people here and more noise and more headlights. But I'm thankful to report that during this process, we've had 0 complaints from our neighbors. It's been a complete 180. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's great. So, and I would say a lot of that has to do with the way Carl's represented us. He's guided our contractor to add some additional fencing and screening up so that we're not disturbing our immediate neighbors. But if you travel Kimball at all, you've known for almost 2 months now, we've had cones on the street. We've got a sign that's kind of blocking the sidewalk. A couple weeks ago, I saw a biker get really mad and throw his bike down and literally scoot that big sign that says right lane closed. He's just yelling and he's scooting this thing over. So I'm sure he's not happy with us right now. But that's a good example. We definitely are impacting our neighbors, and so we are doing our best to minimize that impact. But I'm so thankful that they have not filed formal complaints, and we've not had to deal with that as an additional task with the project. So really blessed and thankful. We will continue, if that does happen and we get some complaints, we'll continue to monitor that with the city. And our plan is really to just engage with anybody that complains. We'll go meet with them and tell them what's going on. And if there's a specific concern that we can remedy, we'll absolutely do that. So we do have a plan in place if that happens. City of Southlake, you've heard us give updates throughout the past 6 months or so, how our dealings with Southlake has been. I'm excited to say right now it's very strong. We're working well with them. They do have a lot of processes that you have to go through, and they've been very creative with some of their requests that they've given us. That's how I'll describe that. But some of that is very common with development. The development process is just very fluid, and cities, no matter where you're doing development in, will want to make sure you're doing it the way they want you to do it, and so they get to have their say. And everything we do has to go through some version of city approvals. Some of the items, like the bridge plans and some of the other documents, up to 15 different reviewers at the city review. And so, as you can imagine, that's somewhat like herding cats, trying to get everybody to look at documents about the same time and then get it back to us. So, but really in a good place with Southlake. We've got so many strong citizens here of Southlake that represent themselves and our church well at City Hall, and so we're in very good standing. Father Jordan certainly has good relationships with the city, so that's helped a bunch too. So great work with Southlake right now. We're probably through most of the permitting items. We've got the bridge items left that we're waiting on final approval from them on our bridges, but a lot of that's just more technical. Should just take another few weeks, and then we'll be done with most, if not all, of the permits. And then Southlake's involvement is through inspection and through project closure at the very end, which would be kind of a final punch list, final certificate of occupancy, things like that. So as long as we maintain a safe site and an active or open site enough for the EMS and fire to access, we should be in good shape. So usually some of our leave things open, move walls around here, it's for safety, but we also have to monitor our access for the city, so we'll keep doing that. Speaking of safety, that's the next thing I wanted to just highlight, construction site safety. We've been real thankful. We've had 0 incidents on site yet, so that's great news. We'll continue to focus on safety, and that's not just the safety of the workers out there that are building these amazing structures for us. That's our friends in here and all of our fellow parishioners. We've got to make sure we keep a safe construction site. So thank you to you all for kind of watching where I should go and where I shouldn't. And it's been good because every week I ask Carl and Ruben if we've had people sneak on site or kind of move a fence and just, and we haven't had any of that. So I'm so thankful for that. I will say the only possible incident we've had was one of my employees stepped into a hole when she was out here. And she's been fully trained. She had all the proper gear on. She was fine. She didn't get hurt. But in fact, she started laughing when she was stuck in the hole. And we just kind of said, okay, well, it can certainly happen to anybody, especially an engineer that works for me that was out here looking at the site. But just know that as you're walking around, we try to keep the whole site walled off and fenced off, and that's for safety. We're not trying to hide anything. I mean, we don't care if you peek through, but there's so many things over there. If you're not paying attention, you could step on, fall in, something could fall on your head, and so we really want to get through this project without incident, and so we will continue to monitor the site and the safety and the access. So, but very thankful that we haven't had a big issue. The new parking lot status, so it's come up a few times, but the goal is to have the north parking lot open every Sunday. And so really at the end of the workday Friday, or if it's Saturday, we're shuffling fence panels around. Carl's making sure access is set up right, but plan to have, unless you're told otherwise, plan to have full access to the north parking lot, and then this driveway that connects the north parking lot to this parking lot open every Sunday. That's the plan. So another thing that we've been working on is a wonderful element to the project, the outdoor chapel and the columbarium that we've designed in between the buildings, the Children's Ministry building and the Great Hall. We've sat down with our architect and a lot of minds came together, and we've put together what's called a programming list of items that we want to put in that space, and we've gotten some great feedback. So we're excited to really deliver what I think will be a small by space but very large opportunity space for us that's going to be really special. So it really won't take shape until near the end of the project, but that outdoor chapel is going to be amazing. So we're really excited that we've got it further in the design process now. We have, there's an event coming up. I don't know if y'all remember, but when we first started this project, we promised to have an event where once we get the steel erected, we're going to pause and we're going to invite everyone to come and sign something. If you want to sign a scripture on one of the beams, if you want to, I don't know, you could write whatever you want, whatever's important to you, but we're gonna create an event that's got safe access onto the site that will have we're gonna take a structural beam that's a pretty important piece, and we're gonna set it up, and everybody's gonna have an opportunity to sign that. And so be thinking about, if you'd like to come, you'll see that in the bulletin. We'll give you a heads up when that's coming. It's gonna probably be early October, I think we talked about. So, but we'll have more details about that. But that's going to be special because that's to a lot of people that if you've ever built a house or if you've ever been a part of construction, there's a real special opportunity there where you can kind of write a little note and it gets covered up. No one will ever see it, but you know it's there and it's in your heart, and it's pretty amazing. So be thinking about what you're gonna write. But we will have the site secured in a safe manner. So if you're concerned about that, our contractor that we're working with, RJ Miller, they've done this exact thing before. They've done this event, they've secured it properly, and so it'll be a safe site. So you won't, and I don't believe you'll have to wear hard hats or anything like that, but we'll make sure of all that and get all the details in the bulletin. So looking forward to that. A couple things, then I'll stop talking. The brick campaign, it is important to get those in. I know Father John mentioned it. So we've got a little bit of time left. We're not just trying to rush you. We do need time to order these bricks, and the brick people need time to engrave all these bricks. And so please hear that is important to get that in. I'd hate for you to have a bunch of ideas and real special bricks for you and your family, and we missed it. And because that's not something we can add later. We have a plan for, it's basically a whole pallet. We've got a number of bricks and kind of a set area where all these are going. And if you show up 3 or 4 months from now and say, oh, I'd really like a brick, that brick's gonna have to go somewhere else. So, I don't know, maybe at your house. But the last thing I'll talk about, and we've talked a lot about it, the foundation work is pretty much done. The slab is the last pour. It is very frustrating when you see a construction site underway for months and it doesn't look like anything's happening. So thank you for your patience while we have gotten the foundation secure. It is, if you know our Texas soils, you know they're really good at moving. And whenever you build a building, the only thing you don't want to happen is for the building to move. So we have to make sure we've replaced a lot of the soil, and then we've dug with piers past all that moving soil down into the bedrock. So our building will be secure. And it has to be because we've got a 10,000-foot floor plate with thousands of pounds of steel erected on top of that plate. And they're only tied to, I say only, 74 piers sounds like a lot. If you think about it, that's 74 points of connection that hold an entire building up that has a significant amount of weight. And so we are at the end of the foundation work, and then now that we start going vertical, everybody gets excited and it starts to feel like construction. So we are knocking on the door of that emotional high when we start seeing everything go vertical. So with that, that's the last thing I've got to say. I'll introduce the money guy. David, it's all yours.
Good morning. Good to see everybody. So turn to the person next to you or behind you and say thank you. Because that's what I'm saying to all of you. Thank you. This has been a family effort, as I will say, and you guys have been absolutely amazing. Okay? So truly, truly thank you very much for everything you've been doing. For anybody that's new, we started this process last year. The parish family is funding this project to the best of our ability through a capital campaign. If you would like to join us in this capital campaign, there's a QR code on the bottom of the page. Feel free to scan that and get some more information. Remember last year, I stood in that building with you guys and asked you to pray. And I asked you guys to think hard about your financial situation and what you all could do to help St. Laurence as we embarked on this project. And you all answered that prayer. You've done amazing. We have, through the campaign, set a goal for $4.2 million roughly. And so far we've collected 58% of that, which is truly amazing. You all have gone above and beyond. I will ask you though to continue to pray. The more you all can give on your schedule, the better we are as a parish. We have not tapped the construction loan yet, praise God. We've continued to fund everything with our own cash. If we continue to do that, we don't pay Frost Bank as much in interest. So it's an important thing for us to do. If you have been paying attention to politics at all, and I hate to bring up politics in church, but there was recently a very large bill that went through the House and the Senate. Talk to your tax advisor. There may be some things that you want to make yourself aware of this year from a tax perspective. When we think about how we're funding this entire project, we've got capital campaign, we've got our FEMA grant that we're going to be using some funds towards. We've got a bequest that was given to the church that was amazing. And all of those funds so far, Donnie and Walter have done an excellent job of investing that. And I want to point out that so far we've got $140,000 in interest income, which is truly amazing for that project. Again, Shay talked about the bricks that's there. When we think about from an expense side, what we're up against, the project itself is around $8 million. 6.5 or 6.6 of that is for the contractors. Then we've got some by owner items that we want to purchase for like the kitchen, chairs, and different things like that, appliances. We've got a contingency fund of about $150,000. We have a projected $362,000 in construction interest. I bring that to your attention because I actually think that number might be slightly lower, just based on the way St. Lawrence has been blessed with all of your generous givings. And then we have the bridges at $636,000. So right now we're within our budget. There's no cost overruns at this time. Les Meisel has been absolutely amazing throughout this entire process. He goes bi-weekly to the construction meeting with Carl and Father John. So thank you, Les, for all your work on that. And he is keeping track of everything and keeping the bank informed of where we're at, and shares that with us very well. So we are truly blessed. We really are. And I am so thankful and grateful for all of your generosity and everything that you guys have been doing. You want to open it up for questions?
Sure. I'll just echo what Dave was saying, and Les was not somebody I called out earlier, but thank you to Les. Les has been so dedicated to the finances of St. Lawrence for over a decade, and I conned him into it over a decade ago, saying it would just take 1 hour a week, and that has not been Les's experience at all. So he's been, as we have a every other week meeting, and Les has come to all of those. And part of his goal in those meetings is just to, as David Hayes is pointing out, to watch after the financial aspects of this so that the finances don't run away from us and that we're all talking to each other, construction side and finance side. So thank you to Les. Okay, you guys heard from the experts. I'm sure there's some questions. You're probably going to have to come back up here to answer the questions. But who has a question? Oh, Jay Hoffman, that's a shocker.
Actually, I'll wait for Shay to walk up.
Okay. Question for Shay.
So, the roadway that's going to connect the north parking lot to the existing back parking lot, is that road going to have curbs?
No.
Okay.
It's currently planned to not have curbs. There's a few reasons for that. That'll ultimately be a fire lane with parking on both sides, and we have a future build site back there proposed. So you don't necessarily have to do curbs at fire lanes, and so it's some cost, a little bit of cost we were able to save.
Yeah, because I think we're still going to need that grassy field.
Yeah, and it'll be important to, once we're done and the grass grows back, then we can drive over it and park, because we're probably gonna have a lot of people park there and do some events there and stuff. So, but our ask will be, let's make sure grasses started growing and make sure that soil gets stable before we drive off.
Because of the grade there, the curbs would prevent some water flow back down to the creek, so Shay's engineers have determined that we need to keep that flat.
Yeah.
Jim.
Will that road be concrete or asphalt?
Concrete.
Lots of concrete. Lots of concrete. Okay, Julie, what do you got? What's that? The children's ministry building will be open by Christmas, and the Great Hall will be open by Easter. You all, if you've ever done a project at your house, you know they give you a date, and then it's, probably a little beyond that date. So those are the dates we're working with right now. And and they say, the contractor continues to say we're on schedule for Christmas and then Easter, the whole project be finished. If that changes, y'all will be the first ones to know. Susie.
No, not with this project. We had, if you remember, we had structurally reinforced that bridge. Is that about 2 years ago now? About 2 years ago. And what we did was a parishioner here volunteered this construction work to do this for the church. So, but they drilled some holes in the middle of the road and pumped concrete. Basically, think of it like structural reinforcement, but it's liquid concrete that's a little bit more liquid at first, so you can cram it in holes and squish it places. And so what we did is we essentially reinforced it from below, which stabilized the area between, if you're familiar with this low water crossing or that bridge right there, it's sitting on bedrock and you can see some of the rocks exposed. So they pumped concrete down to connect the rock to the road. So it's a lot of thick concrete. And then the second thing they did that was real important is they redid the pipes that carried the low flow amount of water. Those pipes had eroded, almost had disintegrated essentially. And so they had replaced those pipes while they were doing the project. So that, while it doesn't look brand new, it's extremely stable now and will last for quite a while. Probably will last longer than we need it to, because ultimately we may have to replace that. But for now, it's very sound. We had a structural engineer come and confirm that the work was adequate to keep it structurally sound.
So we still have issues with it flooding at times, is that right?
Yes, it will. A couple times a year, it'll still overflow, and that's how it's intended to be. When it was first built, that was the design. It was intended to, normal rain events, normal flow, the water goes under the bridge, but in heavy rains, if y'all been here, you've seen it, in heavy rains, water goes above that pavement and over that road, and you do not cross it for a little while. You let that water go back down. That's correct. The other bridge will not be that design. The other bridge will be high enough to convey water at any storm event. So at any point, you'll be able to get to the back of the property and around to the office building during a rain event.
Okay, who else has a, Gene?
Yeah, Father, looks like the projected cost on this project is $8 million. And according to what I'm looking at here, we've got about $6 million raised, is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. So we're going to carry some we will convert any money that we draw from Frost, from construction loan, to a permanent loan at the end of the project. We anticipate that we're probably going to be somewhere in the $2 million range. Again, there's a lot of variables that go into that. It's how much we collect through the campaign, how much, time we save as far as when the project gets done, construction interest, all of those things. But we'll work closely with Frost, who is our partner right now. And we have the option to bid outside of Frost if we want to. But we will carry about a $2 million construction loan at the end of the project.
Okay, who else has a question? Jake?
Do you know, like off the top of your head, how much we still owe on our existing property from 20 years ago?
Last vestry meeting was about 350, 355. He's referring to the transepts.
Yeah.
So we're just going to work that.
We'll consolidate everything into one loan.
And we'll just work that in the normal budget.
Correct. Yep, and we've already forecasted for once that loan, we think that amount is going to be, we've already sort of budgeted and forecasted what we think that's going to cost us on an annual basis, and then built that into our numbers so that we're on track for 2027.
Okay, anybody else got any? Yeah, Jim.
Are we gonna have a big party when it's
I think you can count on that one.
We'll find room in the budget, don't worry.
No need to put that to vote. Right?
Yeah, wait a minute, that's right, that's exactly right. Anybody else got any questions?
Very exciting.
It is. It's going to be very exciting to see everything starting to go vertical, as these guys said. Let's give these guys a round of applause. Here's the last thing I say. I mean, take the packet with you, and if questions come up, you can reach out to any of us at any time. If you reach out to me, I don't know the answers. I sit in these meetings and listen to the experts talking, and I'm like, I know they understand each other. Les and I sort of are smiling at each other at the table because there's a lot of shop talk that happens, and I have no idea what they're saying. But it's good because they know what they're talking about, and that means we're in good hands. But if you reach out to me, I'll make sure to get the right answer from somebody who knows what they're talking about. But we're in great hands with these guys, and very, very grateful to you for your dedication to this. Keep praying. We do pray every day in the prayers of the people for all the folks that are helping with the expansion. That's these guys. It's all the guys that are working out there. And really, it's all of you, as David Hayes was saying. We're extremely grateful for everyone's generosity. So thank you so much. Thanks for giving your time to this morning. And let's be underway. And as I say, take this packet with you. And if you have a question, please, by all means, reach out to us. Thank you so much for your time this morning. Thank you. Good job.